So this is for Ty Young 777, I believe the name is. I should just probably just click open and check. Yep, that's you. The Minerva relief for Stella, or what those hieroglyphs say. I forget it's pretty famous, right? For people who don't know, it talks about Israel. Basically, the guy just kind of there's nothing that I'm on Wikipedia or anything. I think it's like I don't know if it's the Egyptians invading Israel, or if Israel kind of had a skirmish with them or something, because they kind of border each other. I think they went into Israel and just destroyed a bunch of cities or something like that. And they refer to it as Israel. And Israel, again, I don't know if I should mention right, is a people. It's not necessarily a place. The place is Canaan. So it's talking about the people. People in this land are Israel, and that's Israel. It's a territory that they control. It's significant because it's something like 1200 BC plus, or something maybe 1300 or 1100. It's farther back. I say in the video, say, well, at least by 1000. And even for ancient Israel, I don't like to do that. I say like 800. And because I've learned over these various channels that there are people out there that will say, oh, Christian carved it in. Or you can't read hieroglyphs, so how do you know that? So, well, the scholars figured this out around the turn of the last century. I mean, it's been around for 100 plus years. Because anything that you would say, hey, Israel existed, or there was Jesus as a historical figure, and that's that. Like the video that I had, and I think I sent you this Ty Young 777, that about the persecutions. Because somebody asked me, well, if you contend that Muhammad and Islam didn't exist for Umayyads, and that they were practicing Islam, they're practicing something else that later become Islam, how could you, people ask me, how could you then, and say like, or somebody said to me, well, if you say Muhammad didn't exist, then that's the same thing as people saying Jesus didn't exist. No, it's not. It's just absolutely not. It's just like determining, did Julius Caesar exist, or did somebody from the Dark Ages with this obscure reference like King Arthur, did he exist? It could be somebody that's based on that, and even I think the Arthur legend has more to show for it than what we see being Islam. Because there will be people on here that say Suetonius, Celsus, Tacitus, Pliny, we're all forgeries of the Christians. We're all medieval forgeries of the Christians. And someone will say, oh, well, their works were real, but these things were inserted into their text. So the trial of Pliny against the Christians under Trajan, and before that when Pliny's writing about the Christians. And these are not positive views of the Christians, these are negative ones that will make the Christians' blood boil. These aren't being used for propaganda. I mean, they didn't... who's going to say, oh, authoritatively? They didn't really lean on secular sources that much. They didn't see that as reliable. There was no foreknowledge of, oh, in the future there will be this thing called secularism in the West. And I think secularism is a good thing, and I think it comes out of Western Christian civilizations. I think that's pretty clear that it does. But there's still people on YouTube. There's Gnostics on YouTube. Gnostics that say Ignatius, Polycarp, Justin Martyr, four Gospels, all of these were written by Ignatius Baniar. Or not even Ignatius, Irenaeus of Lyon. So that everything that we see of the first 2 centuries of Christianity was just Irenaeus. And that Paul lived into like 130 AD. He was super late. Or people would say there's no. There was this one dude there before the Council of Nicaea. None of the Gospels, none of the Gospels have Spirit, Lord, Jesus Christ. They don't call Jesus God or any. And I said, huh? Not until Nicaea, huh? That's when all these things appear. Unfortunately, we have pieces of the Gospel of John from about 115 or 113 to 130. So let's just say 125. Papyrus fragment, like P52 or P45. And it's pieces of the Gospel of John. We have Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ in there. And then we call him Son of God. So, Son of God and Jesus Christ appear in there. And this person said that none of these words even appeared in there of God or Christ or Jesus or Holy or Spirit. Not even the words were there. Well, I have this thing that, and they go to absurdum. And, well, they claim to be skeptics. And they say, oh, well, you're just accepting that because that you're biased in that way and this and that. Well, wait, couldn't your extreme ignorance of history and your need, I don't understand the atheist need, because there shouldn't be this need if you're an atheist, a need for Jesus not to exist, or Pontius Pilate, or anything. If you say, oh, Pontius Pilate, well, he's not a historical character. Yeah, he is. There's archaeology connecting him. There's people off the cuff, disinterested comments. We don't have those for Jesus. Mara Bar Serapion. What about that? This gets mentioned. As if some dude getting crucified by the Romans is going to make front page news. As if there were even newspapers back then. I mean, if we have this much stuff from the 1st and 2nd century talking about Jesus and the Christians, how much stuff have we lost? Right? Obviously not everything came down to us. So if I even begin to say, oh yeah, that's true because of that, and go on that, no, I have to hold it to a higher standard. Even with religion, you can retreat into I believe, right? With history, it's not make it up as you go along. But some people think that's how it is. Or some people think that, well, Jesus was an historical figure. Yeah, he existed. We know a dude named Jesus was crucified by Pontius Pilate. And after that, his followers claimed that he was alive in some form. And they were motivated by this so much that they were willing to go out and martyr themselves. People were willingly martyring themselves within this first generation. Within the first generation. I mean, in the same century. And they say, oh, well, they could have based it off the Gospel of Mark. What? How is... Oh, gosh. The Gospel of Mark wasn't written until after the temple was destroyed, because if not, then it's predicting the destruction of the temple. And you have it there. Or it's after that. Regardless of where you place that in time, Tacitus, Celsus, Suetonius, and Pliny aren't copying off of each other. It's very plain and very obvious. They have different emotions about these people. And they have a particular writing style. But with the Minerva relief or stela or hieroglyphs, it's just, oh, Christian did that. Or, oh, this guy who lived 100 years ago and he was a Westerner. Oh, see, he was a Christian. He had to say that. So you really can't, I mean, people really are that nuts. They really have such disregard for history. Um, or it's kind of like 1984 with them. Well, if we can manipulate this. Or people who actually lie to people about things that are historical, like the existence of Christianity. And say, there's no evidence that Christianity existed before Constantine. Fortunately, we have archaeology and stuff from before then, for Christians. So you can't make that argument. But they do. And they'll tell this to people who aren't very bright. And they'll believe it. There's the God that wasn't there, that thing, which, the dude didn't even read the letters of Paul. Which, to anybody out there who doesn't believe in God, you're not educated unless you read the New Testament. Because it's such a base work of literature, period. Not even Western literature. Because that goes in, Christianity spills into Persia and India very early and gets into China. And then Islam comes around and it's influenced by Christianity. And you have the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that's extremely ancient. And you have, so it's you're not educated unless you read that. Funny thing is, this person says that they say Hebrews is the only thing written by Paul in this screwy documentary. And people will say, I'll have atheists that will come on here and say, I don't know what you are, probably an atheist. Although I doubt it though, 6777 on there. Holy. But it just could be whatever. It could be a favorite number or something. But I usually don't like to sign people things. I just figure, they're just, until they say something to indicate anything, I'm not going to say it. They're dumb. They're just a normal, rational viewer or whatever. Which doing that on YouTube is a great risk. But it's like, wait, you didn't even bother to read the thing that you're criticizing. And atheists who come on will say, yeah, no, Jesus was a historical character. There's the bare minimum that we could say about him is X, Y, Z. Which even bare minimum doesn't even contain just, there's a dude named Jesus that got crucified on Pontius Pilate. His body went missing or something like that. There's actually things secular historians actually can attribute to him. People like Bart Ehrman. He said we can't attribute this and this and this to him. Things like the Lord's Prayer, things that are very distinctive, things that are distinctively Christian and not Jewish. They've left Judaism and they're not pagan. And they'll get accused, if they ever come to defend me or any Christian, they'll get accused of being a Christian who's pretending to be an atheist. Which, at that point, I would wonder if they even knew what Christianity was, or had it's screwy. So by 800 or 1000, we get graves. We get, when I say Jewish artifacts, I mean just junk from the Jews lying around. It's particularly, identifiably Jewish. Well, no, I don't want to say Jewish. I want to say Israelite. Identifiably Israelite, whether it's Judah or Israel, and the Judah in the south or Israel in the north. It's identifiably that. That's why I'd say, no, God, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing that, And then it's like, oh, God, no, hold it. I type that with a smile on my face. I'm like, that could be like, oh, God, no, or like, absolutely not, that kind of thing. And I'm like, whoa, I meant that as kind of a friendly thing. So let me explain this or whatever. And I'm running out of time again. If I go a few seconds over 15 minutes, YouTube's cool with me. If I go 20 seconds over, it won't let me upload. I'll do it again. And I'm going to go get some sleep because the sun's shining right through the window. So, take it easy. At least I'm getting to bed early, right?